Hi, thanks for tuning in. Today I have another easy breakfast for you. This one can be made day of if you have a few extra minutes, and you can make multiples at the same time to have for later in the week or to make for family members. What we're going to make is egg in a hole, but with bagels instead of regular toast. It's actually pretty simple. So before we get started, let's preheat our oven. As always, let's get our ingredients out. For today, you are going to need 3 bagels. This will make about 3 servings. So if you need more, you can also just double the recipe. I got my bagels store-bought, so they came pre-sliced. Next, we're going to need slices of cheese. Today I did provolone cheese because I'm going to make mine with some prosciutto. Prosciutto is just an Italian ham. It's a little bit more salty than regular ham, but if you don't like prosciutto or you prefer to have slices of ham instead, that also works. If you want to forego the deli meat altogether, you can also just do egg and cheese. Next, we are going to need at least 6 eggs. If you are preparing with the 3 bagels, 6 eggs is fine. If you want to double it, make sure that you have at least a dozen eggs. Next, you're also going to need about 2 tablespoons of melted butter. I have already melted mine. All you need to do is put your 2 tablespoons of butter into a microwavable safe bowl, microwave for about 30 seconds. If this does not melt it all the way, that's okay. You can always just take it out and stir it, and that'll help finish the melting. Lastly, a meal like this goes really well with some green onions or chives. My little hack for that is to have some dried chives on hand. Sometimes fresh chives and scallions don't stay well very long in the refrigerator. This is a nice way to have them on hand. And it would be a good idea to have some salt and pepper available. Now for equipment that we're going to need today is a baking pan. I like to line mine with some parchment paper or aluminum foil. If you have these silicone mats, that's also a nice way to line your pan. So whatever you have available. To start preparing the bagel, what I'm gonna do is just lay them out and make sure I have enough room on the pan. For this part, you'll want to lie them down so the cut side is up, because the next step will be to grab your melted butter here. You can use a pastry brush to brush the butter on top. I'm just going to use my spoon here. So I'm going to take a nice spoonful and just kind of layer it here over the top. I'm gonna take the back of my spoon and just lightly spread the butter into the bagel. Adding the butter to this side of the bagel is actually a really important step, because as you're baking, it's going to create a nice, crispy, golden texture to the bottom of your egg in a hole. Okay, and now I'm going to flip them over. And then to start to prepare my bagel for the egg, I'm going to just kind of pinch the sides like this. Open up that middle hole, just like that. You'll want to pinch a lot harder than you think, because the bagel will start to kind of go back to its original shape. The next thing we'll do is we will layer our cheese, prosciutto or ham if you're using it, and then lastly our egg. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stack 6 slices of cheese and take a knife and just kind of cut a little cross right here in the middle of my cheese, so that way when we lay it on the bagel, we can push through the cheese. You could also skip this step, lay the cheese right on the bagel like that, and then push the cheese in, making a hole with your finger. That is also fine. And then you'll put the slices of cheese one at a time, bending those triangles that you just cut. And then you will take your thin slices of prosciutto or ham, and you will fold so it fits onto the bagel, and then make sure that there's a nice little divot for the egg. Wrapping the prosciutto like this into the hole will also help the egg from leaking through the bagel. Your egg will likely still leak, but it's just something to help catch it. Now for the fun part, let's get our eggs, crack it. Careful with the shell because you could also use the shell to hold the egg yolk in place. See how some of my eggs still drips over the side? That is perfectly fine and to be expected. Careful with the egg. Let the egg white roll over. And then we'll repeat this for the rest of the bagels. You can see here that one of my egg yolks broke, which is okay. That will probably happen a few times, but you can see how the egg still stays on the pan. So as that cooks, what we can do is just take it off the pan and lay it on top of the bagel, and now it's just a bagel sandwich. Now it's ready for the oven. We're gonna wanna put it in for about 10 to 15 minutes. I always like to start with 10 minutes to see just how runny my egg is. I also find that if you're going to have these for later on in the week, it's nice to leave it a little underdone. That way when you reheat it for future meals, it's not overly cooked, unless that's how you like it. Okay, here are my eggs in a hole. I had mine in for about 12 minutes. If you want yours to be a little more solid and less runny, definitely keep it in there for the full 15, but just kind of keep an eye on it to make sure you don't overcook them. You can also see that the bottoms of my bagel have browned really well. That just offers a little bit of a different texture along with the egg and the cheese and the prosciutto if you used it. Now we can move on to our final touches. I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper and then some salt. And if you are using chives or green onions, this is a great time to just add a little bit of color and a little bit of extra flavor. Okay, let's give it a try. You can't go wrong with this one. If you're gonna save them for later, I recommend storing them in an airtight container. To reheat them, the microwave is definitely the quickest way. It may change some of the texture of the bagel and it may lose some of its crispiness. If that's something that you're worried about, you can also just pop it in the oven for a few minutes, or if you have a toaster oven or air fryer at home, and it should come out good as new. I hope that you enjoy your egg in a hole. If you have any questions for me, please don't hesitate to leave some questions or comments below. I will also do my best to link everything that we've used here today, and I will also link my introduction video if you want to learn a little bit more about me. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I hope to see you next time.